What is Google Cloud SQL? Hello everybody, this is Ben Finkel, and in this nugget, I'd like to take just a few moments to talk about what Google Cloud SQL is at a very high level. What sort of features and functions it offers, what problems it attempts to solve, and why would you, as a DBA or programmer, want to use this product inside of the Google Cloud Platform suite. So what is Google Cloud SQL? Well, at a very high 50,000 foot level, Google Cloud SQL is a part of the Google Cloud Platform suite of products. They call that GCP. And GCP exposes a ton of different software solutions that attempt to solve a lot of different problems in the cloud computing space. Google themselves lumps these products together in sort of large, loose, functional groups depending on the type of product they are. So they have a suite of products they consider the compute products. And this is things like Compute Engine and App Engine and Container Engine. They also have a suite of services they expose, APIs that you can relate to or call from your products, and these are inside of the cloud. They are Google PubSub, Translate, Prediction API. There's a whole bunch more of the services. This is just a few of them. They've got a big data solution, Google BigQuery, and that's used for analyzing huge amounts of data. And then they have a suite of products that they refer to collectively as the storage products. And those are things like the Google Cloud Storage, the data store, and the one that we're interested in, Google Cloud SQL. Google Cloud SQL, inside of this entire suite of products, is nothing more than MySQL instances on the Google Cloud Platform. So they've exposed a way to create virtual MySQL databases, relational databases, inside of the Google Cloud Platform. This is when you need a relational database inside of your Cloud Platform solution. Google Cloud SQL is there for you. It's got your back. Google Cloud SQL is based on, of course, the SQL language. It's got a nice familiar infrastructure, and it's MySQL. You've likely probably worked with MySQL before if you've worked in any relational database systems. It's got a very flexible and low-cost pricing mechanism. Through the Google Cloud Platform, you get security, availability, and durability on your MySQL instances, on your Google Cloud SQL instances. You've also got easy migration, and you're not locked into the technology. Databases can be backed up, restored, both within the platform as well as outside of the platform. So you can get things onto MySQL easily, you can get them back out of MySQL easily. You've got a lot of control over your MySQL instances. You can log in through the GUI console or through the command line interface and manage your instances with a fair amount of control, which any DBA is going to need. But, and this last point seems almost contradictory to the point I just made, they're also fully managed. You don't have to worry about things like replications and backups and disaster recovery. Google handles all that for you because it's on the Google Cloud Platform. They've got your bases covered. Now there's lots of database options out there. Why would you want to choose MySQL? Well, a couple of good reasons. First of all, SQL, of course, is what MySQL is based on, and SQL is sort of the gold standard when it comes to querying languages for databases. Why is that? Well, SQL is super easy to learn, it's powerful, there's an incredibly wide and vast knowledge base out there regarding SQL, and it's time tested. It's been around since maybe the late 70s. So using an SQL-powered database just makes a lot of sense. When it comes to RDBMSs, they're pretty much all SQL based, and you're going to want a good SQL database in order to be your RDBMS for whatever particular solution you might be implementing. The other reason to use MySQL is because it's the world's most popular open source SQL database. MySQL is a big deal, and like I said a moment ago, you've probably worked in it before, and even if you haven't, you're going to find yourself very familiar with MySQL. It is so popular, it's so easy to use, and there's a ton of different third-party libraries, connectivity tools, all sorts of different things you can do with it. It also means that your migration path here is going to be really easy and open. You can work in a development environment on your local machine running MySQL and very quickly and easily migrate it up to a production MySQL database. So you're going to find a lot of benefit to working with the MySQL database standard inside of Google Cloud SQL. Some of the key features of Google Cloud SQL, we talked about them briefly a few minutes ago, but just to highlight some of the important ones, it uses the Open MySQL 5.5 standard. That means that you are going to be instantly familiar with and comfortable with working on Google Cloud SQL. Nothing's going to seem unusual. You're going to be able to use MySQL connectivity tools locally in your desktop to connect up to your remote cloud-based Google Cloud SQL instances. You're going to be able to use libraries inside of Python or Java or C or .NET or whatever programming language you're working in order to connect to your Google Cloud SQL instances. You're just going to use the MySQL Wire protocol. Everything about the Google Cloud SQL standard is open and available for you to use. You also get to rely on what we'll call Google level security. And it's important to remember that all of this is running inside of Google's data centers, on Google's networks, and on their infrastructure. You are getting 100% of the security that you would get from anything inside of Google on your Cloud SQL instances. They are isolated. Data is encrypted when it's written to the disks. You don't have to worry about that. All of your information is highly secure inside of the Google network, and you can rely on Google's proven track record for the security of your systems and of your databases. Now, it's also going to be very accessible. There's going to be a web client that you can use in order to administer your instances, administer your databases, and set your backups, your restores, your replication rules, all sorts of interesting stuff, including really outlandish things like we'll talk about in a second, where you integrate with other cloud platform products. There's also a command line utility that you can use to connect up and run your MySQL tools, as well as a variety of third-party desktop applications that you may or may not be familiar with, but you know what, there's a lot of them out there. Lastly, the fourth key feature that we want to talk about is its integration with the Google Cloud Platform in general. You're probably not just running a database on its own. Google Cloud SQL integrates easily with many of the products that are already in the Google Cloud Platform itself. So you can have your Cloud SQL instance actually follow along from region to region or zone to zone with a Google App Engine instance as those things migrate through zones. Same thing with Google Compute Engine. You can attach your SQL instances to your Compute Engine instances and make sure that there's always a low latency, high availability connection between your database and your application front end. Plus, you can work with all the different storage options out there, Container Engine, etc., to get data in and out of MySQL or Google Cloud SQL, and making sure that you always have a really good, tight, close-knit integration with all the products inside of the Google Cloud Platform. That concludes this nugget on what is Google Cloud SQL. We covered briefly what Google Cloud SQL is, how it's part of the Google Cloud Platform, one of the storage options that they offer. Specifically, it's the RDBMS storage option, and it basically boils down to virtual MySQL instances available inside of the cloud. We looked at some of the features and functionality and talked about how Google Cloud SQL interrelates with all of the GCP products. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.